Hi, welcome back to The Distressed Princess. I'm Rhonda. Today starts the very first episode of my Christmas crafting series, and we're going to kick it off with some high-end dupes. The first one is a beautiful Christmas centerpiece from Kirkland's, and it has a pretty steep price tag. But if you go to the Dollar General store, you can usually find some really pretty bowls, even dough bowls. I found this one for $10 and I thought it was close enough to the Kirkland's bowl. Also, at the Dollar General, you'll find this cylinder vase, which was about $3.95. And then these two other glasses, which are just drinking glasses that were $1 a piece. And I liked that they were staggering heights. Then you'll need some candles, and you have the option to use real candles or LED candles like they have at the Dollar Tree. But in this case, I'm going to use real candles. And these came from the Dollar General store. They were actually $2 a piece, but I know that you can get them at the Dollar Tree for $1.25. I just didn't happen to be at a Dollar Tree that day. And you might consider getting a taller candle for that larger vase, because I do wind up stacking another one of those small pillar candles on top of the one I just put in. Then all you need is some Christmas greenery, and these picks are at Walmart. They are really good quality and just a couple cents more than Dollar Tree. And I already had a few Christmas picks from Dollar Tree in my Christmas stash, so I wound up using both kinds. So depending on the price of the bowl that you find to use, you should be able to make this for $20 or less. The next dupe is inspired by these birch trees from Pottery Barn, and man, check out that price. The main ingredients here is a big piece of poster board and some brown craft paper. On the poster board, I just free-handed sort of a collar shape so that I can make my cone. And then I cut the cone shape out. Then you'll roll the cone shape into your Christmas tree shape. And I used regular Scotch tape to hold it all in place. At this point, you should have something that looks like this. Next, we'll start working on the birch. I'm going to call them petals, birch petals. And the way that I'm going to accomplish the look of birch is by painting this brown craft paper with some white acrylic paint. And I'm just going to lightly brush it on, but not too uniform. It's going to be heavier in some places and lighter in other places, but I'm going to do a great big piece of this brown craft paper because I want a lot of those birch bark petals. Next, I used some of the scrap poster board to draw a petal shape onto, which I'm going to cut out and use as a template. Then I used the template to trace around, and I made a whole bunch of those birch bark petals. Cutting all these little pieces out can take some time, so just throw on a Christmas movie. I actually had the Wonder Years on in the background, and I listened to the one where Kevin had the big pimple, and then the one after that, he wanted to be in a rock and roll band. He got an electric guitar, and by the time I got done with those two episodes, this craft was completely finished. So I'd say it probably took about 30 minutes to cut out all of these pieces. Before you can start gluing your birch pieces on, you need to put your lights around the tree because the one at Pottery Barn did light up. So I had these lights that I actually bought last year, and I think they are from Walmart. They were less than $5, but really awesome LED lights. I started at the top of the tree because I wanted the battery pack to hide underneath the tree. So I taped the top piece in place with Scotch tape, and then I just wound it around the poster board tree until I got to the bottom. And when I got to the bottom, I put another piece of tape to hold it there, and the battery pack goes right underneath. Now we can start adding the birch petals, and I'm using craft glue from the Dollar Tree to do this just because I didn't want to have all that stringy spider webby mess that goes along with hot gluing things. So you do you. If you want to use hot glue, it'd probably be easier and of course not take as much drying time. You don't have to be as careful, but that's the route that I went. To make them look more like the flared out birch log bark whatever petals on the Pottery Barn tree, I did use a pencil to roll up the ends to make them kind of curl outward. And again, this process can take some time. So this was the episode where Kevin was playing the electric guitar I was listening to the whole time that I was gluing these birch petals onto this tree. And as I went along, if any of the light bulbs were sticking straight out, then I took a piece of Scotch tape and I taped them down flat against the tree, just so it would be easier to put those birch petals on top of them. And this is how it's looking with all the birch petals glued on. Now the next step is to finish the top. You want to leave a little space at the top because the Pottery Barn version had, it looked like some jute twine at the top. So we're going to wrap some jute twine at the top of ours too. So I just used regular jute string and I hot glued it down to keep it in place, and I wrapped it up. Then a little dot of hot glue at the top to keep it all in place, and this dupe is done. It is beautiful, and I think my favorite one today. The next Christmas dupe is this Christmas bell garland that they have at Kirkland's for $16.99. But the Dollar Tree has some really pretty Christmas bells. So if you bought 4 packs, that's $5, and you get an even longer garland than what you would buy for $17 at Kirkland's. But of course, these bells are brand new, and the ones at Kirkland's looks like they have a little tarnish on them, but that's a really easy fix. I just mixed up some silver paint and some white paint, and I dabbed it on each one of the bells. Then, before the paint dries, wipe the majority of it right back off, and it will look like your bells are tarnished. Then string them all up on some jute string, and I left about 4 inches between each bell on the string. Then tie some really big knots on both ends of the jute string so that your bells don't fall off, and that's it. This wound up being 12 feet long, and so what a bargain that is. And this dupe is another one from Kirkland's. I love this saying. I think it's so cute, but it didn't have a very cute price tag. I'm going to make my own using a Dollar Tree wood sign, and I'm going to use the help of my Cricut to make a decal. Now, if you don't have a Cricut, you could absolutely freehand the words, or remember, you can also print on tissue paper. So print the words out on white tissue paper with your printer and decoupage that onto the wood. You won't even be able to tell that there's tissue paper on there. So here I'm just filling the holes where the hanger was on the sign with some spackle, and then I'm going to sand that back down. As for the painting technique for this sign, I'm going to layer gray and white. So my elephant gray Waverly paint is going to go down on the sign first. And after that's dry, my white chalk paint goes down on top. And I'm not going for full coverage, just a rustic look. Then after the white paint is dry, I go over the whole thing with my sanding block so that it'll be smooth for my decal, and I spend extra time on the edges to give it some distressing. I decided to try my hand with the vinyl paper from the Dollar Tree, so I have black for the words and gray for the snowflakes. And here's what I have to say about that. It is not really high quality vinyl. It'll do in a pinch, but you can see it didn't cut great. And it actually cut all the way through the paper. Like, it's really thin. Like, you would have to really lighten up your pressure, I think, to get it to cut exactly right. After the black words were kind of a fiasco, I decided maybe with the gray snowflakes, I would just make a stencil. And so that was my intention, was to use this for a stencil. But when I peeled that snowflake off, it was such a perfect sticker type thing that I just went ahead and used these snowflakes that I'm weeding out of this quote unquote stencil. And I didn't even have to use transfer paper, so that was a win. Now, I did have to use transfer paper with the black words, which when I was layering on top of the snowflakes, the transfer paper peeled up some of the gray color from the snowflakes. So I don't understand how that can happen with vinyl, but there you go. Another reason, probably just to avoid the Dollar Tree vinyl. But I could also look at it as the snowflakes looking kind of faded and rustic, so I'm not really heartbroken by it. We still have the back to finish. Remember, we still have the glittery Santa Claus on the back. So I'm just going to cut a piece of this checkerboard poster board that I've had on hand. I think it came from Hobby Lobby a long time ago. I'm going to cut a piece of that and hot glue it right onto the back, and then this dupe is finished. Now let's take a look back at all of our Christmas dupes today. Thanks for joining me today. I hope you got a lot of ideas and inspiration to start your Christmas crafting. If you want to see another video, I'd like you to watch my favorite Christmas video that I provided a link for you right here, and I will see you next time. Bye!